Welcome, it's an algo here, and I'll be going over the order block statistical model and stat map indicator settings. So we're just going to go over the stat map levels that I use and just a quick overview on how I interpret them as well. So currently for the OHLC stat map levels, I use the monthly, weekly, and daily. And for the session stat map levels, I currently have the 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time session selected. So just going over the stat map levels, the stat map levels are plotted onto TradingView with indicators created by @_JoshU and 2 degrees on Twitter or X. The indicator plots 5 levels. As you can see, we have 1 opening price, 2 manipulation levels, and 2 distribution levels. The manipulation levels are going to be either premium or discount. And as soon as we get over to the distribution portion of these levels, that's when we start getting more into deep discount or deep premium. So the type of stat map indicators, we have the OHLC stat map and session stat map. The OHLC stat map provides levels off of the candlestick that you are currently selecting. So that could be either the daily, weekly, monthly, 4-hour, or 1-hour candle. Whereas a session stat map creates these levels based off the specific trading sessions you select. So that could either be the NY AM session, PM session, the entire New York session, Asia, or London. And it even goes as deep as selecting ICT macros to create certain stat map levels as well. So now we're going to go over the stat map indicator settings. So we're going to go over the OHLC monthly and weekly stat map levels. So you're going to go ahead and select and put on one OHLC stat map indicator on your charts. And within that setting, we're going to select 2 time frames on. One's going to be the monthly and one's going to be the weekly. So 1 month, 1 week. I only like to have the chart selected, not necessarily the table as well. So for the style, I like to have all the levels checked on, and I make these the same color just so I know these are going to be my higher time frame levels, such as the monthly, weekly. I like to select 2 just so it's a thicker line that I could easily see. And for line position, I like to have it at the current bar just so I know what the levels are without having to second guess or flip anywhere else. So moving on to the calculation. For the calculation look back, I have it set at custom at 60. Calculation method will be at mean, set at points. For the liquidity, I don't use the liquidity at the moment, so we're just going to go ahead and move on. So for the OHLC daily stat map levels, you're going to add on a second OHLC indicator. So now you're going to have 2. This individual one is only going to have the daily levels, so you're going to have 1 day checked off, and that's it. You're going to have all the levels selected on. And I like to have these to be a darker red or a red on its own, so I know the difference between the weekly and daily. Then I'll have the line position at current bar as well, just so I don't have to second guess and I know what the levels are. For the daily, I don't use a midnight open. I like to use an 1800 open, so I do not have the midnight open checked off. For the calculation, I have the calculation look back at custom and set at 60 as well. But the difference with the monthly, weekly, and daily, the daily settings, I have the calculation method at median. So monthly and weekly is mean. Daily is at median. And same thing, I don't use the liquidity pools as well. But I'll go over a video on how I do use it shortly. And if I were to use it, I do have custom time frame set, 1 hour, and then I will have the percentage of ranges at 20, and necessarily I will just have the rate on. Going over the session stat map levels now. So I'm going to add the session stat map levels onto my chart, and we're going to go ahead and select sessions. I have 8:30 to 11. You could have your Asia session, you could have your London session, you could customize this to the session that you have. But based on how I trade and how I see the market, I like to have it at 8:30 to 11. For the style, I have everything on but the open. I don't necessarily like to use the opening price for the session. I like to use the manipulation and distribution to keep my focus on there. I do have it on current bar as well. And for the calculation look back, I have it set to custom, and it's going to be from 40 to 37 depending on what the chart's giving me at the moment. The calculation method here is going to be median and points, and that's pretty much it for the session. So I trade futures. So for me, I have to go ahead and set my trading chart view settings to have adjust for contracts clicked on. So make sure you have adjust for contracts clicked on if you're trying to somewhat replicate the levels that I have in my trading, or the way I analyze the market based on the stat map. So we're just gonna go over the order block stat map model really quick. As you can see, we have the order block statistical mapping model. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this one. So we wait for an OHLC stat map level to be hit along with a session stat map level. From there, we look for an order block and CSD to be validated, and we take our entries during a macro time. From there, we target opposing stat map levels, or you can do your minimum 1 to 2. So this is more of a bearish setting. Here we have a bullish order block statistical model example diagram. As you can see, same concept. Key levels are going to be the OHLC session stat map level combos that are hit. Entry function will be the order block and change of state of delivery. Macro time, I generally like to use 40 to 20, or you could go with the normal 50 to 10 by ICT. Targets are going to be the opposing OHLC and stat map or session stat map levels as well. So as you can see, we have the combo down here. Order block got printed and validated. We'll enter at the change of state of delivery and start targeting opposing stat map levels. Here we can see a bullish example from 11:13. The market has hit an OHLC stat map level along with a session stat map level. Here we can see an order block print with its CSD and order block being validated with this candle. And now we could go ahead and find an entry during a macro window and target opposing stat map levels. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop onto the charts. So this is going to be 12/13/24 Friday session, and I'll just go over this one really quick. As you can see, the market opens up at 1800, and that's when the new daily stat map levels will print. So once these levels print, we have a possible roadmap for the session coming forward. As you can see, the market consolidates in this level at the opening between the daily minus or manipulation level. During Asia, we could see it consolidate and then accumulate right under the opening before launching up, targeting opposing stat map levels. During London and overnight session. NY session, we can see the market open up, and from here the market has hit a session stat map level along with the OHLC daily distribution level. So 1, key levels have been hit, and now 2, we can see an entry function created. We have a 5-minute order block right over here at 9:40. Price moves down. We can see an aggressive validation of that order block and change of state of delivery at 10:05. Price wicks up, and then we can see price finally close down right over here with this down candle closing under the change of state of delivery. And from here, this is where I would take my entry into the change of state of delivery or opening price of this order block. At this moment, I will enter here. Stop will be right at this candle's high, and I will start targeting opposing stat map levels. So we have a low hanging fruit right over here. Session stat map manipulation plus, that's a $28 move. Next level will be right over here. This is going to be the daily manipulation minus level for a $65 move. We have the OHLC daily opening, which is $112 point move. Right under there, we have the session distribution minus level, that's 114. And then we can see the market go to the final OHLC level at the daily plus manipulation for a full $158 move on NQ. So as you can see, we have the 1, 2, 3, and the 4 would be targeting opposing stat map levels. So 1 is key levels. We have the stat map combo levels hit. 2, we have the entry function created and then shortly validated. 3, macro time entry at 1020, and then target opposing stat map levels. So the way I see these models isn't necessarily just A plus based on the entry model. The way I like to do this, me personally, is when I do grab data for these, I like to see this. I like to see when the market enters me in the position into the trade, and I like to check the stats on how much drawdown the trade went into once it entered me. So this one entered me, and within this wick, it was only in a drawdown of 1375. And then I like to grab the stats using the date and price range. And from the entry to the final level, I like to grab that data. So as you can see from entry, it was just a wick in, no drawdown for more than 5 minutes, immediate delivery, and then we can see finally hits this final level for 158, and it only took about 40 minutes. So these are the type of stats I like to grab to determine whether if it's an A plus delivery or not, and how I got confident with this model. I know you could see a larger stop, but if it does start pulling into these stops more than, right away starts consolidating into this area, there's a high chance that I'm thinking, hey, I'm gonna be wrong. Let's start maybe cutting risk already, or let me just keep an eye on this and start grading it a little bit lower. Because generally, I would like to see entry, wick entry, and then no more and drawdown for 10 minutes and then immediate pull. If not, then I know the market isn't probably moving correctly today, well, for my model, and or maybe I'm not on the right side of the market. So one thing I do as well, as I enter, I have the alerts on. If the market starts hitting these levels, I start to see if there is a bullish setup printing. So what does that mean? As we hit this level, I'm gonna watch the market. As you can see, the market hit this level, printed up, use this down or up candle as support down, and continued to go down. Same thing here, market hits an OHLC level, greens down, retraces into it, and continues its delivery down. We hit this other OHLC level, and we can see straight candles down, finishing its delivery where? Right here to its final OHLC level. At this moment, we could see the delivery change from this to this. So once we hit this final OHLC level, this is what I'm looking for. As you can see, the market pops up, validates this order block, and changes state of delivery, and then now we can see a reversal. So as the market goes to these key levels, I still look for something like a model occurring. So right now, as the market hit this, we had the session distribution level hit along with the OHLC session level hit. So that's what? 1, key levels, combo hit. 2, entry function created. Order block was created at 11:05. Change of state of delivery and order block validated at 11:15. And then we could see macro entries at 11:50. And even one as far as the 1 p.m. macro. Then from there, price launches up, and we could see a target opposing with stat map levels. And there was a weekly stat map level right here as well. So just going over yesterday's price action really quick. Actually, let's go over this. Indicators. So as you can see right here in the top left, these are the indicators that I have on. I have 2 OHLC stat map. I have the ICT kill zones and pivots, the session stat map, and I do also have the dynamic RTH gap. But we'll go over that next time. So just like we were going over the settings, I do have 2 OHLC stat map indicators. One is for the daily, like I said. I'm just gonna try the historical. Then one is for the weekly and monthly. So 2 separate indicators, one separately just for monthly and weekly, and one is for the daily. I have the session stat map right over here as well. Like I said, you could have multiple sessions on but I only like to have the 8:30-11 fit for my trading personality and style. And then time groups, you can even set it to the ICT silver bullet or ICT macros. One thing that we can also touch on is setting alerts. What one can do is select one indicator, click the three dots or more, and then you'll see this list pop up. You could go ahead and click add alert on OHLC stat map. This will pop up and then you could just click. So I do one for the daily. I'm gonna do one for the weekly now. So same thing. We're gonna highlight the indicator. We're gonna go ahead and add alert and then just create. Same thing could be done with the session stat map. So one more time, more, add alert on session stat map, and then create. So I think alerts are a really great thing to have. It frees up your time. Another way to really submit to the process and be disciplined to your edge. So let's just go over yesterday's price action really quick. Tuesday, 12/17/24. For me, the way I like to, anticipate possible NY delivery is this. When I see a large range moving, or a large range day, or large trend day, like Monday, 12/16/24, that's already a nice indicator for me that the next session could be choppy, or next day, right? So Monday had a big range day, or a trend day. Then we had overnight session, or Asia with the overnight session have about $100 move. So higher probability that the NY session is going to be choppy for me. So what does that mean? These days I like to stay nimble. What does nimble mean? I don't expect the market to trend, and if it does, that is fine. I'm not here to capture the entire move of the day. I am trying to capture consistency in my trading, things that will keep me consistent and keep me grounded, because I do have my weaknesses and working on my discipline, and that's what my model is for. So with the anticipation of this day being rangy because of a large range day, then overnight session in Asia looking like this, NY session I will stay nimble and keep my trade short. So with this session, we can see the market open up 9:30. 9:30 went down into a monthly and session stat map level. So with this thinking, I see two OHLC stat map levels right below it during market open. So the thinking here for me is, since these are in close proximity with each other, I have the idea that the market will draw to this, especially with these two being in such close proximity with each other and within this. So as you can see, the market opens up, pops up. This popped up right into an RTH gap, and then we can see price move down. Price moves down into the daily and weekly stat map levels. So now we have a combo. Then we have our order block print. So why did I use this one rather than this one? This one had a close, and it's preference. I mean, look, you could use this one as well, but over time, as you're grabbing more data and as you see more and more of the charts on your own, you're gonna see what sticks out to you the most. Whatever sticks out to you the most, in my opinion, is something that you should stick to, because you could easily see that, and that's what's most important. It's about what you could see easily and repeat rather than what I could see easily and repeat. Because in the end, that's, in my opinion, what trading is all about. Like, we became traders to be us, right? We don't want to be, held down. We want freedom. So in order to have freedom in what we do, I think we have to be happy and be us, right? Be ourselves. Anyways, so we have the OHLC and stat map combo hit at this point. Now we have an entry function created. So as you can see, the market goes ahead and validates that OB right over here. And now we start to target opposing stat map levels. So on these days that have large trend days the day before, and with the expectancy of a possible range or anticipation of a range in NY, I like to exit at the session M. You'll notice on days like this, more oftentimes than not, we will range, hit one manipulation session level and combo, and then tag back and hit another session. So the only issue before I had with this was there is no combo. Let's see, OHLC stat map combo here to go short. And at the same time, I don't like to trade PM for my own reasons. This is enough for me and move on. But if I did not hit this, or if I am a PM trader, I will pull a fib between stat map levels like the M and opening. And as you can see right here, now we have a combo, right? And we can set up the combo right over here. Time macro 40 to 20. And then one can use that in confluence with the order block. Your stop could be at this candle. And then we target opposing stat map levels once again. We have this short. I don't really like PM session because to me, if I am looking at the daily candle, we have an open, high, low, close, or open, low, high, close. To me, the PM session is putting in that high and close, or low and close, which necessarily could end up in what? A chop. And truthfully, I like the NY AM session more. Will be done. NY lunch. So something like this. It looks like it's market's live. The market has gone up. Now we're gonna see possible combo right over here. We have the session stat map right over here, and then we also have OHLC right here. So at these points, I don't necessarily like automatically consider this a combo, especially because it's not my time. I don't trade news. I use this part of the day as data for NY open. So as the market continues, all I'm doing really is looking for my setup. Just because it hits a stat map level doesn't mean you just enter. I just don't enter just like that, right? I have to see my criteria or my rules of engagement appear. I need a combo hit. I need an OB and CSD hit on the 5-minute. And if I were to choose to enter, it would be entering at a macro timed entry. So just because it hit a combo, I'm not just gonna enter here willy-nilly and then this happens, right? With this happening, I have this in mind. I have this area in mind, and this is where I would want my combo to hit, hopefully at after market open, 9:30. Why? Because in the end, I know over a long period of time, this happens more oftentimes than not, and I am comfortable for this and to wait for this to occur rather than chasing or trying to capture a falling knife or step in front of a trade. When I trade the OHLC stat map and session stat map, the whole idea of this is to position myself within the wick of the daily candle. All right, so example, this, right? So as you can see, this is the daily candle. The market goes down, 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 and right here is where we're gonna have this is where we're gonna have the combo. The entry function, changes state of delivery, macro entry, right? So here's a daily candle. Where are we now? And as you can see, upon this entry, where are we positioned within the daily candle? The wick. So I like to trade the daily candle, align myself with the daily bias, and I use the session and OHLC stat map to position myself within the manipulation portion of the wick to trade or play the distribution portion of the candle at play. So let's see an example again. I think Friday was a great example of this. So market goes up. This was our order block. And our entry was going to be right over here, CSD, and you target opposing stat map levels. So where are we positioned? Within the wick. Stat map level combo, order block, change of state of delivery, and where are we positioned? Within the wick. Well, I hope you guys found this insightful. It was just a quick video. Thank you for bearing with me. I'll go ahead and touch up some more later on. Thank you for bearing with me once again. Love you guys so much. Thank you all for the support. And love you guys. Safe trading and good luck.